Hey Glam Fam, welcome to today's video. It is March Glamness, brought to you by the National Cosmetics Glam Association. And today's bracket, we have the brand new Givenchy Prisme Libre Concealer. We're going to see how this one compares to the new IT Cosmetics one we just reviewed. And we're going to see how these two new players at Sephora compare to each other and how they wear on my mature skin. So without further ado, let's get started.
You're still my favorite queen of the night. Our friend, let's drive off again. Let us drive off again.
All right, my beautiful Glam sisters, it is March Glamness, and we are on part 2 of our battle of the brand new concealers at Sephora. This is the Givenchy Prisme Libre Concealer. I do have part 1, which was the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Dark Circles Serum Concealer. You can check out that full review. We are going to compare all 3 of these. I have the Valentino one as well, and we're just going to see which one works out best for over 40 skin. If you're new here, I'm Kristi, and I'd really love for you to hit that subscribe button and join our beautiful Glam Fam. We're here every week, and we just love for you to become part of our family. If you like videos like this, please give it a huge thumbs up. When you guys hit the like button and comment below, it really does help my videos out. And if you are new here, I do have mature skin. I am going to be 45 as I'm filming this next week, but when you guys see this, it'll already be my birthday. So I just wanted to say thank you for sharing it with me. And I do have sensitive, acne-prone skin, fine lines, wrinkles, all of that good stuff. So I look for concealers typically with coverage, just because for me, I'm a full coverage kind of gal. But as we get older, finding concealers that kind of give us a little bit of coverage, but don't get too thick where it can kind of settle into our lines. I have been trying to find that right balance. Have I found my perfect concealer yet? Absolutely not. But I'm getting close to it. So I don't really think there's a perfect one out there, to be quite honest, but I'm going to show you how you can utilize these type of concealers with medium coverage and radiant finishes for our skin type, how you can utilize them and it looks good for mature skin. So sometimes we have to be really careful. Although radiant sounds beautiful and glowy and all of that, that can really emphasize lines. So let's jump into these details really quick. This does retail for $37. You get 0.37 ounces and 11 mils of product. So you're looking at $3.36 per mil. That's not too bad for a luxury brand. You are getting a little bit more, or actually quite a bit more product than you are in the Valentino and the IT Cosmetics. So keep that in mind, even though it is a higher price point. It's available in 24 shades, and the shade I went with is W110 Fair to Light Warm Undertones. That shade looked the best on the stock swatches for my particular taste when it comes to under eye concealers, which I typically like to go 2 to 3 shades lighter than I would do with my foundation, just because I like the brightening effect, but that's just my preference, so keep that in mind. If you don't like that, then I would go up a shade because this is quite light. I couldn't afford to get other shades because it is a $37 price point, and my particular Sephora did not have this in store yet to show you guys all of the swatches, but I think this one worked for me, and I have been wearing this, so I already know how it wears. This does have a 6-month shelf life, and it was made in France. It's described as a revolutionary hydrating 24-hour concealer formulated with 95% natural origin ingredients that conceals, corrects, and cares for the skin. The cooling effect of the creamy texture creates a refreshing sensation on the under eye area while improving skin quality. The result is visibly smoother, hydrated, and a lifted appearance. This water-resistant formula is medium coverage with a radiant finish. I would say medium, but definitely not full coverage. I would say light to medium buildable is how I would describe this from already wearing it. The highlighted ingredients are plant-based glycerin, which offers 24-hour hydration and maintains skin moisture barrier. And then we have capucine extract. It adds radiance and enhances natural glow of the complexion, and cornflower complex, which decongest and smooths the skin. Now let's take a look at the full ingredient list. Oh, that's so frustrating. Water is the first ingredient, but then you've got 3 different types of coconut oil at the very front of the list, which means that it is highly, highly potent in this concealer. I would personally stay far, far away from this concealer, and even the color corrector that launched a few weeks ago if you are acne prone. I would not recommend using this concealer anywhere but under your eye, and if you break out anywhere under your eye, I would stay away from it completely. So we have C912, caprylic triglyceride, and then we also have cocoa caprylic caprate, which are all derived from coconut oil. They are coconut alkalines. So I can use it under my eye because I don't break out through this area. I only break out on like my cheek area and then my chin area. And that's pretty much it. I don't really break out on my forehead either. But until I was more aware of the ingredients that were going on my face, I was just breaking out like crazy. And ever since I stopped and really concentrated on what I'm putting on my face is when my skin completely cleared up. So let's try this shade right now. I'll show you guys in studio what it looks like and the spoolie. I do have to say this particular shade was my favorite out of all 3 that I picked up and that I'm reviewing. This is my favorite as far as the tone, the undertone, and the opacity. I really actually enjoyed it. I'm just sad that it has coconut oil in it. I'm gonna start right there. And I'm just gonna do it right there. I'm keeping it really contained to just my under eye because I can't put it anywhere else. And that's all you really need, even though you can build this up. This is all I used the other day and it was fine. I didn't really need more than that. So I am gonna take my Sonia G on this video, and this is the mini base. I'm just using different brushes just because I wanna make sure they're nice and clean. And we are gonna let that, I think it's fine. It needs to dry down a little bit if you want some coverage. This is not one that dries down too quickly because it does. Typically ones with a radiant finish, you can give it a little bit of dry down time. And I like to use a brush at first to spread it around, and then I use a sponge after that. I'm just gonna buff that in. And remember, I like it a lighter because I like it to brighten. So not everybody, and I like to put it in the inner corner too. Not everybody likes that, and that's okay. I'm gonna put a little bit on my eyes just to kind of blend in there. And then what I do is I take a sponge and I just start to blend it in even more. As you can tell, that is definitely a very light coverage. So if you have any, like I have some dark circle discolorization right there. So if you have any type of discolorization, you are definitely going to want to use a color corrector. I was thinking this one gave a little bit more coverage, but it doesn't. We'll go over, after I do the Valentino review, we'll go over how I would rank them. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you have your notification bell on so you guys can see that review or get notified when that review comes out. And then I will go over my rankings of all of my top concealers and where these fall within those rankings. Now I think it's nice because for mature skin, again, we have fine lines and wrinkles. So too much consistency or too much thickness can accentuate that, right? Over time. Like it looks beautiful when you apply it, but as you wear it, it could possibly start creasing up. I say this and I believe in this with all of my heart, that as mature skin ladies, we need powder. I don't care what, I know there's a lot of people that just swear by powder creasing, but that's just because either they're not applying it correctly or they haven't found the right powder for them. But we need to set down our concealers. It's important. It's so, so, so important if we want longevity out of our concealers. Now, again, this is not a lot of coverage, so as you can tell, you're not going to get like that full coverage look. I have my KVD as I knock everything over. Wouldn't be a video without Kristi knocking everything over. I have this on by itself today, and I just can't even tell you how much I love that foundation. So that is how it's looking. Let's take a look at it up close, and I'll show you guys with just one light layer. You guys saw I didn't put that much on. That's not set down, that's just what it looks like. And then I'll show you guys what it looks like outside of my studio lights. So as you guys can see from that B-roll footage, I have a little bit of dark circles today. I didn't have it as much in the last video, but this particular day I do. So that's okay, that's life, sometimes that happens. And this is just not a full coverage concealer, or just not enough coverage for me to cover that up without a color corrector or by building it up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little bit more to see if it covers it up, and if not, then we are gonna have to go in with some type of corrector over. So we'll just put it right there and right there. Not too much, just a little bit. And I'm gonna try to keep that contained and do a more dense brush to see if we can get it to stick a little bit more. I'm gonna use my Tarte concealer one by the sea. It has a little bit more density, and I'm just gonna press that in there like that. See if we can just get a little bit more coverage with a more dense brush. I don't think that Sonia G one was dense enough. So as you can tell, we are getting a little bit more coverage with the density. And I'm just going really, I'm not pressing really hard, just a little bit. Just a little bit of pressure there. And that definitely did help. And that gave me a little bit more brightness, so that's good. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with my sponge, and I'm gonna just give the lightest hand just to blend and press all of it into the skin. And I'm kind of going more around the edges, as you guys can tell, just a little bit around the edges. So the best way to do this to really cancel out the dark circles is not to build up a color like this, because then it just looks too pasty, right? It looked better on the first layer. So that's why it's better to go in with more of a peachy corrector first and then go over it with this concealer to brighten up. So this wouldn't have been the order I would have gone in, but I didn't really see my dark circles until I put the concealer on, to be quite honest. So this is the Sephora Collection Gel Concealer. Personally think this is even a better concealer, just in my opinion. And we're just gonna, and this is half the price. See how that has like a peachness to it? So this is my favorite one for color correcting. Now I'm gonna take my sponge and I'm just gonna blend that in there just to kind of cancel out that dark area. I don't know how I feel about this. Let's go in with my Makeup Forever HD Skin. This is the new powder. I talked about it in the It Cosmetics video. We're gonna do this one, it's Alabaster, and that's gonna give me a little bit more coverage and hopefully cover that up. So it looks a little bit light, don't worry. As I mentioned in the other video, once I put the rest of my powders on, it blends in, and I like that, so it's just my preference. Okay, that gave it a little bit more coverage. And that's how you can do it without it getting, to me, liquid creases more than powder, in my opinion, in my experience too over the years. So I personally would rather get the coverage from the powder than build up the liquid. And that's just my take on things, but everyone's different. Once I set down the rest of my face, everything just blends together. So keep that in mind. I can't get enough of these Makeup Forever HD Skin powders. I just think they're so incredible. They just make everything better. Just taking my Charlotte Tilbury medium 2, and I just like to blend everything together with this powder. Now remember, this is just my preference. I know my skin, I know how my makeup holds up with the powders that I use and the amount of powder I use. Everyone is different, so keep that in mind. Just gonna go all the way down my neck, a little bit on my ears. Just start blending everything together. So that is how it all looks. Let's take a look at it up close. So that is the before and after, what it looked like without anything on, and how it looks all set down with the concealer. And I have to say, it comes out really pretty. Once I put the powders on, I always feel like it comes out really, really nice. Since I already know how this concealer wears, I can tell you putting it on with a full coverage foundation is not my cup of tea, but that's just me personally. I think if I'm gonna wear a full coverage foundation, I'm gonna want a full coverage concealer. I think this is much better for natural days, just because when I wore it with a powdered foundation, I really enjoyed it a little bit more, I would say, and when I didn't have so much discolorization. So this is gonna be for a particular person, right? Everything I review, always take with a grain of salt, because some people like a lot less coverage than I do. So I think for that purpose, I think it's beautiful. So I will insert the video right after this of my 8-hour long wear test with just powdered foundation, and then I will come back later on once I'm done filming another video and we'll go over all of my rankings. My stomach is growling, so I apologize. I need to go eat something, and I will see you guys at the end of the night. All right, you guys, so I wanted to do a quick check-in with you guys and let you see how this is wearing outside. It's very gloomy today and it's gonna be raining the next several days, so I'm not gonna get a lot of sunlight, but I want you guys to be able to see what it looks like outside and just to get a good perspective. So I will see you guys on the final check-in. All right, you guys, we are at the end of day 2 and it's about, oh gosh, like 9:30 at night. So I've had this on all day and it wore really nicely. I mean, you can see a little bit of my dark spots peeking through, and just because there's not a whole lot of coverage, but I mean, it looks pretty good. I don't really have any big complaints, except for I'm not really particularly that enthused about the ingredients, obviously, but other than that, I think it held up pretty nice. All right, you guys, so you got the outdoor check-in. This is how it looks with all of my makeup on now, and it's holding up really nicely. I have to say, this is about 6 hours later because I filmed another video, I took a break, had some food, and I just really wanted to see how this was going to marinate, I don't know if that's a good word, with my KVD Good Apple Serum Foundation, since I did it with the Makeup Forever powder in previous testing of this concealer, but it's holding up really beautifully. I have to say that. So if you're not allergic to coconut oil and you don't have any acne issues or enlarged pores, then you're going to love this concealer because it is really beautiful. Now, this is not for my girls that want full coverage, not even, I would say, medium to full coverage. If you're that kind of girl, this is not your concealer at all. But if you like very light coverage, you don't have acne prone skin, and you want a lot of moisture, then this is a beautiful concealer for that person. Now, the ratings I'm going to give you guys are based off of my preferences and what I look for personally in a concealer, but take it with a grain of salt because we all have different preferences when it comes to concealers and foundations. So for me, I am going to personally give this a 3 out of 5. And that's because I don't like that it has 3 different coconut derivatives in it. And I also don't like that it's not medium to full coverage because that's more my jam. And I have to say I did break out, so that's unfortunate. But other than that, it is a beautiful concealer. I'm not going to take away from that. And I do like the shade. I think the shade is really beautiful. This may be a little light for some people in their taste, but I like the brightening under my eye. That's my personal preference though. So as far as the shade range goes, I think it's okay. I mean, we're looking at a very luxury brand, so they don't always give you the best shade range. Now, I do think if you're comparing this to Dior Forever, and this is the brand new one, I am going to release this soon. I do have a video I filmed a while back on this when I picked it up. This is the reformulated one, so comment below if you still want me to release that. I think I am at some point, but I just have to have time to edit it. I do think that the Dior one is better for my preference because I like a little bit more coverage, yet it gives me that extra moisture. It doesn't have coconut derivatives in it, and I just feel like this has always been a tried and true concealer, and I don't think they did anything too drastically different to the reformulated one. I do think the original one is still the best one, but as far as luxury concealers and what I've tested out, as far as, wouldn't consider this luxury, but the IT Cosmetics one and the Givenchy one, I still would take the Dior Forever one over those two. So I don't think this is still going to be the one for you if you like full coverage, medium to full coverage. But as far as these two go, I would probably take the IT Cosmetics one over the Givenchy if I had to pick between these two, just because there's a little less coconut oil in this one. That's the only reason why. As far as coverage go, I would say this one has just a wee a wee bit more coverage on the IT Cosmetics one. Not much more, but just a wee bit. Other than that, that's my thoughts on it. I hope you guys enjoyed that thorough review. I'm just really disappointed that there's 3 different coconut derivatives in this one. Comment below and let me know what your thoughts are. If you've tried this, if this was on your list, your radar, or any of that, let me know in the comments section. I love the packaging. I think the packaging is just so incredibly luxe, a lot like the packaging from the Prisme Libre. This is the powder. This is the rose shade. This really brightens. I don't personally like this for setting down my concealer, but I do think it's really beautiful for giving like that brightening look to the skin. So you've got the puff. I never really used that puff, but this one is how I would use this is, let me grab this guy. Wait, hold on. We'll grab this BK Beauty 108. So what I would do with this, if you were ever interested in it, is I like to just put it into the top of the cap, and that's kind of what it looks like. You might not be able to see it so much in my lights. I think it's gonna wash it out, but I'll take an up close shot for you guys. So I'll put this on here, and that's kind of what it looks like on the brush. And then it's very powdery, so you want to kind of dust that off if you don't want it to get it all over your makeup. And what you can do with this one is just lightly pat that on there. And then with a puff, you are going to get more coverage. It is beautiful. I'm not going to say it's not beautiful. It is beautiful. Let me try it with this puff, just because I don't want to dirty my other puff. I'm going to show you guys kind of how it looks with a puff as well. And I like to just kind of go on the back of my hand first, just so we don't get too much on there. And then we can kind of just see what that looks like to touch things up as well. So it is really pretty. It is really, really beautiful, but it's expensive. I guess the scent isn't as strong as I thought it was. Maybe it's kind of faded over time. I've had this for a good year. I think I got this about a year or 2 ago, but it is really beautiful. This was a limited edition packaging from a holiday Sephora sale time frame. But other than that, that's my final thoughts. I really appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned. We still have 1 more to go with the Valentino concealer, so we're gonna test that out. And if you are new here and you haven't hit that subscribe button, I would really love for you to hit that subscribe button, click the post notification bell, and join us. We're here every week, and we just really love for you to become part of our family. And if you like videos like this, please give it a huge thumbs up. When you guys hit the like button and comment below, it really does help support my channel. Thank you so much. You can follow me on all of my socials at KristiAllure. And again, check out my March Glamorous Life collections, and I will see you guys on the next video. Love you. Bye.
Never up, never down, never. Like a theme in a song, clever. Feeling high, feeling low at the same time. Feels so right, then I'm wrong, hoping I'll be fine. But I get up, I always do. I never think, I always do. Never thought